Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, where we at 7:35. Happy Tuesday, Hall of Fame edition. We're talking Baseball Hall of Fame. Writer's ballot is out. That's like that's when you really know we have entered the holidays, when the Hall of Fame ballot is out. It is Thanksgiving week. I put an order in for Topps Heritage Miners. So I actually have two cases coming. I have one case that hopefully is delivered to me tomorrow. And then I ordered a case from my buddy Tom at Real Breaks that I'll pick up at the December Madison Card Show, which is December 17th. I'm going to look at my tracking. Oh, my email just updated. So I did get my shipping notification. I ordered a case from Blowout. Blowout's price $6.25 at Blowout, which I think is a good price. My UPS tracking notification, I looked at it last night. It looks like it was shipped and it was scheduled for delivery tomorrow, and that's still the case. Let's see, what's the tracking? That does make me nervous, though. It's Thanksgiving week. That doesn't have the actual... And until I see like updates on where it actually is. Where can I see that? Your shipment estimated delivery. I want to see my updates. This is weird. Last night it was get updates, change my delivery, view details, shipment progress. There we go. Okay, well, it only says label created on the way. This morning at midnight. So I don't think it's going to get here tomorrow. We'll see. Hopefully it does. Otherwise, I guess I'll be ripping on Black Friday. I'll be ripping and shopping. Hopefully there's some deals on Black Friday as well. I'm ready. And then this Saturday, I'll be at the Janesville Card Show, Janesville, Wisconsin. I'll be set up with my bargain boxes, my 25-cent boxes. So come see me in Janesville on Saturday. We've got Daniel Larson in the house. He wants Mark Grace and Fred McGriff in the Hall of Fame, and Kenny Lofton, and he thinks the Hall of Fame is a farce. Max does not agree with Daniel. Christian says he has banned the Hall of Fame until Lou Whitaker gets in. Hall of Fame is a hot topic. I love Hall of Fame talk because there's so many opinions. Hall of Fame talk, baseball Hall of Fame talk, is much like discussing politics and religion. It's a heat point. Is that the right term? Heat point, hot point. People get opinionated. Brian, what's up? Good morning to you. Max says Chef, A-Rod, and Manny get in. Beltran may have an outside shot, but he's a no fringe guy for me, and a no to Lou for me for sure. Clark says good morning. What's up, Clark? Matt Royals 417 in the house. NP 5 firm. Dale Murphy. I think Dale Murphy might get in. So we've got two ballots right now. Let's see. We've got the contemporary, which we talked about last week, which has 8 players on it: Albert Bell, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Don Mattingly, Fred McGriff, Dale Murphy, Rafael Palmeiro, and Curt Schilling. That is the 8-player contemporary baseball era ballot. So I think there's 8 voters that are on that, 8 or 12. I can't remember. So that'll be announced, I think, the end of this month. They'll announce who, if anybody, on that ballot gets in. The ballot released yesterday is the Baseball Writers. It's your annual ballot. It's not very star-studded this year, so we'll see. I think when we talked contemporary era ballot, I think I said I don't think anybody on the writer's ballot gets in. I may backtrack just a little bit, so we're going to talk about that. Rich Klein, good morning to you. 5 likes and 7 people, I know. How about that? Hit that like button. Although you might not like today's content, you may not agree with me, but that's okay. Boston Smoke, what's happening? Good morning to you. Zach and Porter says, morning, I'm sorry, but I, for one, miss the political ads. I don't. Zach and Porter, by the way, check out Sports Collectors Digest. There's a great article on our friends Zach and Porter, written by John Newman in Sports Collectors. It is Digest, correct? Sports Collectors Digest. So check that out. Herman is with us. What's happening, Herman? David, good morning to you. What else do I need to get out of the way? So I ordered my Heritage Miners case, 2 cases. 1 case hopefully will be delivered this week. Second one I'll pick up at the Madison Card Show next month. I'll be in Janesville Saturday. Black Friday is this week. Thanksgiving is this week. Holy moly. I made a purchase last night. Thank you, Zach, dropping the link there. There it is. Check out the article on Zach and Porter in Sports Collectors Digest. I made a purchase last night that from Sport Lots, and I knew it's been a while since I made a purchase on Sport Lots, but I didn't know how long it had been since I made a purchase on Sport Lots. So I was heavy. I actually sold on Sport Lots back in 2008, 2009. And guess what? The website hasn't changed since then. Looks the exact same. And then I really got into selling on Sport Lots a lot in 2015, 2016. And then it just became a burden for me. So I stopped selling on Sport Lots. And I thought I had been buying occasionally, but as I started doing a lot of trading in the 1 Million Cubs project, I no longer was seeking out cards, because a lot of cards that I had on my want list I would receive in trade. So apparently it's been a while since I logged into Sport Lots. I was looking for Ethan Roberts cards. I did log. Did I talk about this yesterday? I also did something I hadn't done in a while. I logged cards on Trading Card Database. So I wanted to log my Ethan Roberts collection. The reason I've been procrastinating on my Trading Card Database entry is because I'm very disorganized with my Cubs collection, and I want to get organized, but I just don't have space right now. So I don't have a good space. I mean, I probably could make a space, and I choose not to. That's probably more along the lines of what's happening, but I've got so much stuff. I don't have space for it. I'm trying to sell in bulk. I'm going to be moving next year. So and I know it's well, you should sort now and organize now so you don't have to do it when you get to your new house. But it's hard when you have a limited amount of space, and I don't like clutter, but look around me. So I haven't, but I'm I've got all these Ethan Roberts cards. I do need to count them up. I want to see what I'm missing. So I gathered them all up the other night, I think Sunday night, and counted them up, entered them into Trading Card Database. I have 355 Ethan Roberts cards. My latest edition was the silver foil, the rainbow hot box from Allen and Ginter that was delivered to me over the weekend. But I still need the base Allen and Ginter. I need the minis. So eBay's still really high price. So I'm I'm going to check out Sport Lots. And the same seller had the base version and a couple of the minis, the base mini and the black border mini. So for $5, I was able to pick off those 3 cards. I had to log into Sport Lots. And I logged in. For some reason, I remembered it's easy because it's my email, but I remembered my password because I only use the same 3 passwords. But I got it on the first try. And so when I went to place my order and pay, it showed my last address, and I'm what the hell? I haven't lived in that house in 6 years. It's a year. It's 6 years to the day right now. I think we started moving in we closed on, I think, November 15th, 2016. Just 13 days after the Cubs won the World Series. We closed on this house, and we started moving in the following week. So it still had my old address. So 6 years since I've put an order in as a buyer from Sport Lots, but I've got 3 more Ethan Roberts cards. So that'll put me up to 13 unique Ethan Roberts cards. I'm at 10 unique and 355 overall. What else is going on? So trading card database, sport lots. I think that's about it. I'm going to be listing. So I've been shipping out of my ASS the last couple days because I was at the card show, obviously, on Saturday. And then after I'm done with the card show, I just kind of like to veg and not do card stuff. So I shipped a lot Sunday and Monday. I'm never caught up, but I'm to a comfortable place. So I have the cleaners came yesterday. Yesterday was a bizarre day. I oversleep because I must not have set my alarm. Which, by the way, I was up early today and did not. I had my alarm set, but I woke up. I did not need my alarm this morning. It's because I got extra sleep yesterday. It's like, well, time to wake up, making up for lost time. So I was able to get some shipping done this morning as well. But yesterday was a bizarre day because I oversleep. The mail is usually delivered between 11 and 12. And I got a really cool card. I've got it right there. I'll have to show you my really cool card that I got in the mail yesterday. So I'm like waiting, and I knew it was going to be delivered yesterday. And I'm like, man, the mail. So I went out at noon because usually the mail comes between 11 and noon. And it had not arrived. So I came down, I ate lunch, came downstairs, did more shipping, decided, I'm going to go run to the post office, go to the mailbox. Still no mail. This 3:00. I'm like, well, maybe I'll run to the post office, get back, and the mail will have come. Still no mail. Mail didn't come till like 4:30, and I'm waiting for my package that I'm going to show you in a second. The cleaners are also supposed to come yesterday, and they're not as their timeliness is less reliable than the United States Postal Service. They're supposed to come between 12 and 1, but it gets later and later. They didn't arrive until 4:30. So it was one of those days. So chalk it up as a manic Monday. So my package that I received yesterday, my very first eBay purchase through the authentication program, and it's in a PSA slab. And I know people, well, why do you have to send a PSA slab to get authenticated? Well, there are a lot of fake PSA slabs. So I am totally cool with buying a card and having it sent to an authenticator, especially when it comes to raw cards, but even PSA. Now, this is a card that's probably not going to be, probably not going to fake a slab for this card, but it did have to go through the authentication program. And I saw this on Facebook, and I'm like, this is a really cool card. And it's a Hall of Famer, one of the all-time greats in the Chicago Cubs franchise. So I went to eBay, and I saw it on eBay, and I put an offer in, and I'm like, may or may not get accepted. It was, boom, accepted. So I was happy to pay. It is a rookie card, I believe. It's hard for me. I don't know where is Victor, the rookie card specialist? Rookie cards at the turn of the century are very difficult for me to gauge. Like, what is a rookie card? Is this 1908 E91 American Caramel Mordecai 3 Fingers Brown a rookie card? But at any rate, it's a really cool card. You can't really tell why, because the PSA slab sucks. So guess what I'm going to do? I am going to break this card free from its ugly PSA cage, and I will be submitting this to SGC. Now, I personally will not be breaking the PSA slab, but I will be giving it to my buddy Matt from 5-Star Cards, probably this weekend. 5-Star will be at the Janesville Card Show. So I will be giving it to Matt, and I'm like, hey, can you either crack this or send it to SGC and have them crack it, because this needs to be freed from PSA. Tobacco cards do not belong in PSA slabs. Look how ugly that is. It's floating. It's not even, it needs its V8. Remember those commercials? Have you had your V8 today because you're sideways? It looks like S-H-I-T. It looks like crap. PSA has ugly slabs. It looks terrible, and this does not belong in a PSA slab. We're going tuxedo, baby. Three Fingers Brown, 1908, going to SGC. So that was why I was waiting for my mail yesterday. Usually I don't care when my packages come, but when I'm getting stuff like that, or when I get a case of Heritage Miners, I'm like watching the tracking because I'm ready to rip my Heritage Miners. Let's go into the chat real quick. Let's see. So we've got David's in the house. Herman is here. Rich says, well, you would rather see the Shaq ads and the medical pills ad or the political ads. Truly a toss-up. And the pups need to go out, and I will start my day, so I'll listen later. Thanks for jumping in, Rich. Well, at least the younger one looked good in John's card. Let's see. Zach takes offense. Rich says outcast. Cooter's in the house. Good morning, Cooter. He says no hoodie. No hoodie Tuesday. It's a no hoodie Tuesday. Nope, I'm going with my North Face, and this was swag that I got from my previous job. It's actually got our logo over here. But it's a really comfy. It's really warm. My wife came. The cleaners were still here when my wife came home. She came down here and hanging out in the rec room, and she's like, "It's really cold down here," and I'm like, I don't notice it, but I'm like, when I'm like working, not like I'm busting a sweat shipping cards, but like there's some activity, like I'm moving around. But then when I laid down on the couch, it's like, you know what? It is pretty chilly down here now that you mention it. Let's see. Zach and Porter says, Bo complaining that you can't search by team because he secretly buys Blue Jays cards. That's my biggest knock on Sportlots. Being a team collector, I want to sort. So going back to Sportlots, and I think somebody asked in the chat what Sportlots is. So I'll get to that. So let me circle back to that's my gripe about Sportlots. Ed, what's happening? Good morning to Ed. Dave, what's up? Great to be on live today. Son came in from Columbus, is also watching. What's up, Dave's son? Very cool. Johnny Boy Cards in the house. Zach and Porter says, starting with Ethan is a good start to develop the habit. Then pick another player and slowly add. You can do it. That is, yeah. And maybe Dylan Cease. Maybe I'll shoot for your Dylan Cease standing. Dan, what's happening? Let's see. And by the way, I'm gonna mention Dylan Cease as I talk about Sportlots here as I circle back. Can I give a quick rundown on what Sportlots is? Absolutely. Let's see. Jenny's in the house. What's up, Jenny? I wouldn't be able to not get caught up on shipping. That would drive me crazy. Zach says there's no rookie logo on the Three Fingers Brown. Brian Wolf, what's happening? Let's see. Bo won't be getting a sponsorship from PSA. I will not. Let's see. Zach says, Jenny, we should ship that clip and overlay with the guy who never graded a card, right? I have evolved, but I have never graded a card to flip or to sell. All of my submissions have been for my own personal Cubs collection. Let's see. JG says, do you have someone open your twist off beers too? Crack your own slabs. No, I don't use tools. I do not use tools. I have a hammer and I have a Phillips screwdriver and a flathead screwdriver. I have a pair of pliers. I've got a toolbox upstairs, but I never use it. And I'm talking like a tackle box, not like one of them big red toolboxes. No, I don't use tools. So what is Sportlots? So we'll start Sportlots. Sportlots is it's a really cool website. I like Sportlots, but there's also things I don't like. And a lot of people don't like it because it looks like the website was built in 1996, which I think it was. It hasn't been updated in 20 plus years. So you can basically find and I shouldn't talk about how great Sportlots is because a lot of the stuff that I sell for $1.50 in my eBay store can be found on Sportlots for 20 cents. However, eBay's so much easier, and that's my gripe about Sportlots is it's not easy to navigate. Sportlots is basically crowdsourced. So, well, I guess eBay is as well. So you're buying from different sellers, so to save on shipping. So I could go in and say only one person had the Ethan Roberts card I had, but I want 3 because I don't want to pay. I could buy, say there's a Allen and Ginter. There's an Allen and Ginter Ethan Roberts rookie card. On Sport Lots, it might be 20 cents, but on eBay, it's $1.50 or maybe more. So I could pay $1.50, $1.60 after tax on eBay, or 20 cents. But wait, you have to pay shipping. So then you have to go to each buyer and find out, like on eBay, it shows right there, like you're going to pay 99 cents plus 99 cents shipping, or $1.50 plus free shipping. Boom. With Sport Lots, you have to do the work. You have to go in. Okay, well, how much does this guy charge? Oh, well, shoot, his cheapest shipping is $3. So you're paying $3.20 for a card. It's like, and then you look to bundle, and it's not easy because you can't sort by team. So it's great for set builders, but it is a pain to navigate. So that's Sport Lots in a nutshell. It's basically a great platform for commons and low-end inserts. When I sold, I would rip and flip cases in 2015 and 2016. And so I would, and basically I would, I'd say pre-order a case, Heritage Miners. I'm getting a case this week. If the checklist is loaded on Sport Lots, I would add ahead of time. So basically a pre-sale on all the Heritage Miners cards. And so I would usually make 35% of my money back on a case selling commons and inserts on Sport Lots back in 2015 and 16. Now, a case of Heritage Miners back then was $400. Now it's $625. So I don't know how that math works, and likely you're selling for a similar amount than what you were 6-7 years ago. So that's Sport Lots in a nutshell. I put the link on there. It is kind of a pain to navigate, and I don't like you can't sort by team. So going back to the Dylan Cease reference, I bought 3 cards of Ethan Roberts. Fortunately, one seller had 3 cards that I needed. Shipping was reasonable. I think it was $1.85, which I think it's going to be sent PWE. I don't care. So it's like, I wonder if he has anything else. Well, what do I collect? Cubs. Do I want to go type in every single Cubs player that I can think of? No. I want to search either by set or by team, most likely, and I can't do that on Sport Lots. So I'm like, is there any player? It's like Javi Baez. I'm not really actively collecting his non-Cubs stuff. But Dylan Cease, I kind of am. If I find White Sox cards of Dylan Cease, I'll pick them up. So I typed in Dylan Cease, and then it's like, I don't even know if I need, because there's no pictures. Also, that's another knock. There's no pictures, because are you going to spend the time to upload these pictures for 20 cents on these comments? So there's no pictures. So it's like, I don't know if I have these cards or not. I'm just going to stop wasting my time looking around, buy these 3 cards, and call it a day. So Sport Lots in a nutshell. It's great and it sucks at the same time. That should be their slogan. Sport Lots. We're great and we suck at the same time. Zach is a big fan of Sport Lots. I've not done the box shipping, but 1 to 4 cards is very economical, and you can find some great deals when you are a player collector. Absolutely. It's a great site for player collectors, or I guess set collectors, because you can search by set or by player. Max nailed it. It is the DOS version of ComC, except with like there are some like autographs and higher end stuff, but it's not a good platform to sell higher end stuff. So it's it's like the DOS version of ComC without the high end stuff. So I'll add to that. Zach says, speaking of Ginter, are you going to list that Charlie Barron's card? I've been monitoring. Yes. In fact, I'm listing it today. As soon as I wrap up this video, I'm going to do a couple more shipments. So I'm down. This will probably make some people laugh. Some people may understand. Let's see. So I am down to Come on. Come on. Come on. I'm down to 56 items to ship. 56 items to ship for me is like a piece of cake. Like, I dream of the days that I get my ship list down to 56 items. 56 items to ship for me is like most people's one. It's like, oh, I can hammer that out in an hour and a half. Hour if it's all singles, hour and a half if there's like, if somebody came in, and a lot of what I have left to ship are some like multi-card orders. So this one might take, these 56 items might take up to 2 hours because there are some bigger orders that'll take me a while. I can ship 56 to 60 in 1 hour if they're all 1 to 2 and maybe a 1 or 2 transactions of 3 cards. And that's what I did 56 in 1 hour of predominantly single card shipments. But then there was at least 1 3-card shipment and then a couple 2-card shipments. So I can hammer out, if they were all single cards, I could probably do 60, maybe 62 in 1 hour. But if it's like a 10 or a 12 card shipment, then it's, obviously it's going to take a little longer. Anyway, so I'm down to 56. So after this video, I'll get a cup of coffee and then I'll, actually, you know what? I'll probably get the cup of coffee, stay upstairs and, hammer out those Allen and Ginter because I do have that box next to me. Put that here. So that was going to be my first order. My first listings of the day is going to be the Allen and Ginter, and then I'm going to go into 2022 archive. So I'm going to get the current stuff up first, and then I'll go back and do some of the older stuff and just random stuff. I've got a 4-row box chocked full of cards that I'm going to be listing on eBay. I need to get my goal for the end of this week is back up to 29,000 active listings. I was really close to 29,000. Now I'm down to like 28,000 after a lot of sales the last few days. And then I'd like to get to 30,000 by the end of the month. But with my case of Heritage Miners, maybe I'll throw a sale out at some point, Black Friday or Cyber Monday. We'll see. Royals 417 says Sport Lot boxes can be great deals. Let's see. Paige and Deanie Bean in the house. What's happening? All those tools you mentioned are what you need to release the Kraken, but potentially become both Three-Finger Thompson. Exactly. Exactly. Let's see. Jenny says I went to buy that Puckett. He showed 2, but it wasn't there. Zach says false. There can be pictures. Most do not post them. Yeah, there can't. And yeah, I don't know how I phrase that, but you do have the option to post pictures on Sport Lots, but like 99% of sellers do not post pictures. You can post pictures. Most do not. I never did when I was a seller, and most people don't. Jenny says we might have to go to the Sport Lots for our Ginters. Sport Lots requires effort and patience. eBay is built for the impulse buyer. Absolutely. John, what is up? That 70s Card Show. Let me know when they make the new Mac version of ComC. Let's see. Max says, Bo, did you see the Chris Farley cut from, yeah, there's a cut auto from Allen and Ginter that was pulled. Should have made it a jumbo redemption. It's really awesome, but I don't like it because it like doesn't fit in the frame. Like it's not, it's like the auto is not fully viewable within the frame on the Allen and Ginter card. But yeah, really cool cut auto, Chris Farley in this year's Allen and Ginter, which was pulled. I believe it's a 1 of 1. And I think actually all of the cut autos are 1 of 1 for probably obvious reasons. So I think I'm caught up. Again, I'll be in Janesville this Saturday for the Janesville Card Show. I'll have my quarter boxes, and it'll be a good time. This Saturday, Janesville, Wisconsin. Let's talk Hall of Fame. Terry's in the house. Let's talk Hall of Fame. The writer's ballot has been released, and it is not star-studded whatsoever. No Bonds, no Clemens, no Schilling. Headlining the returning guys, we've got Manny Ramirez, Alex Rodriguez, Gary Sheffield, some guys who have been climbing in the voting, Todd Helton, and Scott Rowland. So it's we've got first timers. The headliner among first timers is Carlos Beltran. So that's how this year's ballot is. So I'll just go through it alphabetically. Bobby Abreu, Bronson Arroyo, who I believe he's got to be a first timer because otherwise he wouldn't be on the ballot. Beltran, Mark Burley, where's Dan? Burley, Matt Cain, R.A. Dickey, Jacoby Ellsbury, Andre Ethier, J.J. Hardy, Todd Helton, Torrey Hunter, Andrew Jones, Jeff Kent, John Lackey, Mike Napoli, Johnny Peralta, Andy Pettit, Manny Ramirez, A-Rod, Francisco Rodriguez, Scott Rowland, Jimmy Rollins, Gary Sheffield, Houston Street, Omar Vizquel, Billy Wagner, Jared Weaver, and Jason Worth. And obviously we can cross out several of those names because they will not even reach the 5% threshold to remain on the ballot for next year. There it is, Burley. So I think I've changed. I was thinking about this morning before I went on. Like, what am I going to say about this year's ballot? I've been a big Hall guy the last several years because there's been several names on the ballot that are Hall of Famers. Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Mark McGwire, Rafael Palmeiro, all those guys that are no longer on the ballot. So now it's like I'm looking at the ballot, and for the last few years, it's like, well, I'm voting 10 because there's 10 Hall of Famers. In fact, I think last year or 2 years ago, there were 16 names that I would say these guys are Hall of Famers. And that's certainly not the case. I would not put 10, even if I reached on some names. I think 7 is the max. And I got to thinking, there were some names that it's like, yeah, I'd put this guy on. I'd put this guy on. But I think my mindset is like, I've been trying to get to 10 because there's 10. Like, it's who do I leave off the ballot in recent years? And now it's like I'm trying to get to that 10 number. And it's almost like a mind F. It's like I've been programmed that I have to vote for 10. And now it's like, well, I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think he's a Hall of Famer. When in fact, no, they're not Hall of Famers. So I think I'm going to go small Hall. And A-Rod is in. A-Rod's a Hall of Famer. And I know people are going to say, oh, PEDs, blah, 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 blah. A-Rod's a Hall of Famer. He's a baseball Hall of Famer. Alex Rodriguez, he's on my ballot. He's getting in. Manny Ramirez, he's getting in on my ballot. And then I think I'm going to put Gary Sheffield in. The rest, maybe Scott Rowland, but here's what I think about Scott Rowland and Todd Helton. Again, I think I'm being mind-effed because Todd Helton and Scott Rowland have been gaining traction in the voting. And I just don't think these guys are Hall of Famers. Scott Rowland and Todd Helton. And I think the reason I'm like wavering on, okay, I think Scott Rowland's a Hall of Famer. I think Todd Helton's a Hall of Famer. And I think the reason I have thought that recently is because I've been programmed to think that like, oh, they're gaining momentum. They're gaining steam. But no, they're not in. I think I'm just going those 3 guys, Manny Ramirez, Alex Rodriguez, and Gary Sheffield. That's who I think should get in. That's who, in my opinion, should be in the Baseball Hall of Famer. The other guys are good. Really good, in fact. Jeff Kent, really good player. Not Hall of Famer. In fact, Jeff Kent was the one that there's so many people that think Jeff Kent's a Hall of Famer. And that was the first name I looked up this morning on Baseball Reference, and I wanted to see, what am I missing about Jeff Kent that so many people want Jeff Kent in the Hall of Fame? And I saw something, I think it was, I don't know if it was a writer or just a fan on Twitter or somewhere, but it's like, if you have to stop and think, if this guy is a Hall of Famer, that guy's a Hall of Famer, he's not a Hall of Famer. And it's like, when I have to look up stats, I mean, I think I know baseball well enough. I followed it for 30 plus years. You would think I would know what a Hall of Famer is. But am I using other people's opinions to alter my view? And I think I am. I think I have been. And I think I'm finally coming to the realization that I need to think for myself. And I think I've been programmed the last few years because there's been so many Hall of Famers, should be Hall of Famers on the ballot that have not been getting in, that I've been thinking big. It's got to be, every ballot should have 10 plus. And it's certainly not the case this year. I don't even think you could make even a average case to get 10 of these guys in the Hall of Fame that are on this current writer's ballot. 3. I've got 3. I'm putting Manny Ramirez in. I'm putting Alex Rodriguez in. And I'm putting Gary Sheffield in. So I looked at Jeff Kent's stats because so many people, Jeff Kent, he's a Hall of Famer. He's got a long career. He played, 17 seasons. But look at his stats. 290 batting average for a career. That's good. It's really good. 55.4 WAR. 2,461 hits. So it's like, yeah, it's really good. It's not Hall of Fame. 377 home runs. Not Hall of Fame. 290 batting average, 1,518 RBIs, 94 stolen bases. Those aren't Hall of Fame numbers. Yeah, he was an MVP back in, 2000. Finished in the top 10 a couple times. 1, 2, 3 other times he finished in the top 10 of the MVP race. His baseball reference similarity scores, not impressive. We've got Robinson Cano, Aramis Ramirez, Torrey Hunter, Miguel Tejada, Dave Parker, Jim Rice, Scott Rowland, Luis Gonzalez, Sandberg, and Galarraga. So Jeff Kent, no way in hell I'm putting Jeff Kent in the Hall of Fame. Let's go to the chat real quick. Mark Burley, not Hall of Fame. Let's see. John says, Manny A-Rod, let them in. I agree. Until you said Rowland. I'm backtracking. I'm no longer on the Scott Rowland Hall of Fame train. But I think he might get in this year. And I'll share why I think that. Sheffield, A-Rod, and Manny all should be in. Let's see. Zach says, or start pulling out the guys who use spitballs, shine balls, etc. It was legal. I agree with that. David Ortiz. David flippin' Ortiz is in the Hall of Fame. Bud freaking Selig is in the Hall of Fame. But you're going to keep out these other guys? Double standard much? Come on. Paige and Deanie Bean says, you just found out yesterday that your computer doesn't read emojis. 377 home runs from second. My computer reads emojis, but the chat, the YouTube chat does not read emojis. My computer reads emojis, but just not the back end of your YouTube chat. Let's see. 377 home runs from second base, all-time leader. Okay, I get that point, but it's not Hall of Fame to me. Sex bots are here. They want to talk Hall of Fame. I get it. Jeff Kent's not a Hall of Famer to me. But I get the positional argument, but still. Let's see. John says better WAR than Murphy and Mattingly Kent has. So maybe, and maybe I'm just coming to the realization that Murphy and Mattingly, I don't think Mattingly's a Hall of Famer. Murphy's been one of the guys that it's like, yeah, maybe he should be in. Maybe he shouldn't. Maybe my opinion was wrong about Murphy. Let's see. John says a lot of people blabbing about those two getting in this year. And I don't know, since that's one of those era, like it with the writer's ballot, outside of the first time voters, how people are going to vote because it's not very common that they change unless something happened. Like Omar Vizquel lost a ton of votes because of off the field abuse. So Vizquel was probably going to get in eventually until all that. He lost a ton of votes after that. Scott Rowland, Todd Helton, they're going to get in. In fact, Jason Stark wrote a great article for The Athletic. I think I have to log in if I type it into my computer. I think it's on my phone. Actually, no, I think I took a screenshot because I wanted to bring this up. Because there was a stat about Larry Walker and who Larry Walker eventually got in. Oh shoot! So I didn't. I didn't. So what I screenshot was this ballot. Based on WAR, how poor this ballot is in comparison to other ballots. But Todd Helton and Scott Rowland have been climbing and climbing and climbing. And at first I didn't think anybody on this ballot was going to get in. I'm going to backtrack. The way Rowland and Helton have been gaining steam these last few years, I think they're going to get in. And I think they might get in this year because there's nobody else on the ballot. And I just don't think a lot of writers they have that mind. They're programmed. I've got to vote for somebody. And well, Scott Rowland, everybody else was voting for him. So we're all sheep. And I've been a sheep. So I think they're going to get in this year. And I didn't think that a few weeks ago. But now that I think about it more, it's like, you know what? I've been programmed that my thought process was I need to vote for 10 if I had a vote, my opinion, because there's been 10 plus that I think should have been Hall of Famers. And now there's not, but it's like, I've been programmed to think, well, I've been doing 10 before. And I think it's kind of the same where it's like, well, it's the Hall of Fame. I've got to vote for somebody. And some of those people may not be A-Rod, Man Ram, Sheffield fans. And it's like, well, I can't vote for them because of their beliefs. So I've got to vote for somebody. Well, Rowland's gaining steam. So I think they will get in. I think at least Scott Rowland will be elected from the writer's ballot this year. At most, 2 people get in from the writer's ballot. Scott Rowland, Todd Helton. Nobody else. Just those 2, I think. And I don't even know if Helton will gain enough steam. I think Rowland will get in this year. So that's my thought there. Before I get into war talk, let's go into the chat. We need the reveal game today, Bo. Let's go. Let's see. John says, not advocating for Kent, but not a lot of second basemen with his stats. Bonds needs to get in before Kent, for Cripe's sake. Agree. Kyle says, look at Mattingly's gold gloves. He should be in as others produced less and got in. Sometimes it should be called the Hall of Really Good. But I think Mattingly's really good. And I don't think Mattingly's a Hall of Famer. And I think that's another reason the Hall is getting bigger and bigger. Because now it's like, well, based on this, it's comments like this where it's like more and more guys are getting in because of that. Well, if this guy's in, this guy's got to be in. If this guy's in, well, now it's like the Harold Baines measuring stick. Well, Harold Baines is in, so there's, if Harold Baines is in, all of these guys on this ballot should get in. I mean, if you compare, and I don't want to go in and look at each number, somebody else can in the background. But compare Harold Baines' numbers to the 8 players on the committee ballot. Don Mattingly, Dale Murphy, Bell, Palmeiro, Bonds, Clemens, Schilling, and I'm missing one more. Did I say Murphy? Those 8 guys. Compare those 8 guys to Harold Baines. And I'd like to see how they stack up. Maybe we need a Hall of Fame South. Mattingly, Murphy, Whitaker, all can have their own building somewhere else in rural New York. John says we're just background. So the other, so what I did screenshot last night, this is from The Athletic. I think it's titled like five notes or something from Jason Stark. So this is based on last 40 Hall of Fame ballots. Only one 40-win player, first-year Hall of Fame candidates, last 40 elections. There's only one this year, Carlos Beltran. His career WAR is 70.1, which is really high. I'm surprised Carlos Beltran has that high of a WAR. Let's see. I just want to double check to make sure I'm reading this correctly. That is correct. 70.1 career WAR for Carlos Beltran. The second most on this year's ballot among first-timers, John Lackey, 37.3 career WAR. Only one other time in the last 40 Hall of Fame elections has there only been one player with a plus 40 WAR. Only one player. That was in 1986. Willie McCovey had a 64.5 WAR on his first ballot. The second most in 1986 was Paul Blair, 37.7 WAR. Only twice in the last 40 years have we only had one first-time 40-plus WAR player on a ballot. Carlos Beltran, the only guy this year. I'm shocked Beltran has a 70 WAR. Now I've got to think, is Carlos Beltran a Hall of Famer? And you can't keep him out because of from my standpoint, I'm putting all these PED alleged guys in. Beltran is among those. So shoot, maybe Beltran is a Hall of Famer. Let's see. So 70.1. Here's Carlos Beltran career stats. 70.1 WAR, 2,725 hits, 435 home runs. He has more home runs than I thought. 1,587 RBI, 312 stolen bases, and a 279 career batting average. Let's see. Some of his awards. He was Rookie of the Year. Let's see. Multi-time All-Star. MVP. He only finished in the top 10 twice in MVP voting. He was fourth in 2006 and ninth in 2003. Let's see. Let's take a look at his similarity scores. Looking at Carlos Beltran, 70.1 WAR. He did play 20 seasons. Two-time Silver Slugger, 9-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glover. Let's see. Where's this? So similarity scores. He's got impressive similarity scores. Similar batters to Carlos Beltran, Andre Dawson, Billy Williams, Al Kaline, Luis Gonzalez, Tony Perez, Gary Sheffield, Dave Winfield, Dwight Evans, Chipper Jones, and Dave Parker. That's a pretty impressive list right there. So maybe Carlos Beltran is a Hall of Famer. Let's see. David says, I can see no one getting in the Hall of Fame this year by both ballots. I think my opinion is if I have to like not waver and be, I think Scott Rowland's going to sneak in. Oh man. And now it's like, well, I have to choose. Is he going to sneak in or is he going to be just short? Final answer, Scott Rowland comes up short. Nobody on the writer's ballot gets in. Final answer. I think Rowland's going to make enough steam. He's going to get very close, but he's going to come up shy. I think he needs 47 additional votes, or, he was 47 shy last year. Does he make that ground up this year? I think it's going to be close. I don't know if he's going to make up that much. 47 though. The era ballot, I definitely think there's going to be, two or more. Now, who are those two going to be? I'm not even going to venture a guess because of the Harold Baines factor. Like, who would have guessed Harold Baines would have been elected on an era ballot? So I'm not even going to guess who among those 8. I will say I don't think Palmeiro or Bell will get in on the era ballot. But I wouldn't be surprised. I would be surprised if either of those two got in on the era ballot. Any of the other 6, I would not be surprised. Even Mattingly, who I don't think should be in. I wouldn't be surprised. Let's see. Max says an MVP and a couple Gold Gloves doesn't automatically give you a bust in Cooperstown. Let's see. Randy says, now that David Ortiz is in, it's time to let McGuire, Sosa, Bonds, and all the others in. Absolutely agree with that 100%. And Selig. If you're going to let Selig in, if you're going to let in Ortiz was the cherry on top. Now the floodgates should be open. All of these guys should be in. John says the Mattingly Gold Glove thingy is dodgy. It's a default award some years. Who else was going to get it? McGuire. That's a good point. Let's see. Max says Beltran, fringe guy for me. Really nice career as a switch hitter and some accolades. Paige and Deanie Bean says the PED wing of the Hall. John says Beltran is a Hall of Famer. PEDs have been around for a century or more. I agree with that. Is Alkaline one name, or did you say Al Kaline? Let's see. Herman says, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't war a stat that was only created in the last 10 or so years? I think it was created about 30 years ago, 20 years ago. But yeah, it's like, so they've like backdated, they've gone back and done war for like the older guys. When was war created? When war baseball created? We're going to Google, because that's a good question. I am curious. Wins above replacement is a metric created and developed by the sabermetric community in baseball over the last 30 years. There's even room to date it back as far as 1982, where a system that resembled the method first appeared in Bill James's abstract from that year per Baseball Prospectus and Tom Tango. So basically the last 30 to 40 years, war was created. I'm reading his book, Man on the Train, which is not a baseball book. It's about his theory on a serial killer from the turn of the century, true crime. It's a pretty good book. It is kind of, it's more of a slow burn for me as a reader. It's not like a page turner. Like I can read like a chapter a night. And that's about it. It's kind of a slow read. It's not like something, it's not a page turner. Like there's not a cliffhanger at the end of each chapter. It's just kind of, here's what happened on this case. Now we go to this state, in this case, in this case, in this case. So Man on the Train by Bill James, the baseball Bill James. But it's a true crime book. Zach and Porter says, what was Three Fingers War on the back of that card you got slabbed? There is actually a back. Let's see. Baseball Caramels. This card is one of a set of 33 baseball players consisting of New York, Philadelphia, and Chicago baseball teams, one of which is wrapped with every baseball caramel. So the Chicago, it's even got the checklist on the back. So the Cubs had Harry Steinfeld, Johnny Evers, Three Fingers Brown, Frank Chance, Jimmy Sheckard, Joe Tinker, Orville Overall, Johnny Kling, Ed Rulebach, James Slagle, and Frank Schulte. So that's on the back of my Three Fingers. So do you want to know what Three Fingers Brown War was? We can look that up. Mordecai Brown. Career war for Three Fingers Brown, 58.3. His career stats, 239 wins, 130 losses, a career ERA of 2.06. Let's see, 40. He started 332 games. He pitched over 3,000 innings in his career, 1,375 strikeouts, and he was inducted as a Hall of Famer in 1949. But there's your answer, a 58.3 WAR for my man, Mordecai Three Fingers Brown. Let's see. Beltran is a Hall of Famer. Would it be too bad to just not put someone in? There is precedent. We had that happen just a couple of years ago, right? When there was no Hall of Famers. Has it happened twice recently? Baseball Hall of Fame class. Let's see. What's going to be the easiest? Do we go to Baseball Reference? Yes, we can. Let's see. Voted by. So there's the 2022. Let's BBWA. So there were no Hall of Famers elected on the writer's ballot in 2021. Let's see. There was only one player elected last year. That was David Ortiz. 0 in 2021. 2 in 2020, being Larry Walker and Derek Jeter. 3, 4 in 2019. 1, 2, 3, 4 in 2018. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 in 2017. Let's see, 2 in 16, 4 in 15. So when was 2013? There were 0 Hall of Famers elected in 2013, and in 2021. Let's see, 05, 04, 03, 02, 01, 2000, 98, 97. There were no players elected in 96. Let's see. And it looks like, and I would assume going back into the 80s, it was probably a yearly all the way back into the 70s. So yeah, it looks like 3 times in the last couple decades, there's been 0 elected from the writer's ballot. Let's see. John says, war is war, Herman. The numbers are relevant regardless of their eras. What was Three Fingers War on the back of the card? Oh, we just talked about that. I think it was a Moneyball thing. Joe Caprino, what's happening? It's easier to break into Fort Knox than get into the Baseball Hall of Fame. John says it's happened 9 times, no elections. Kyle says maybe I'm giving Donnie Baseball too much credit due to his Ditka-like mustache. 9 times. 9 times. Name that movie. Randy says, I forgot to finish my story from yesterday concerning the dealer at the Spectacular who called me a picker. I left, then went back and bought a 2000 Ultra Bill Miller Platinum. Oh, you gave the guy money. Max says, I still hate war as a stat. Just looking at career war leaders should tell you enough about it, about when it should go to the curb. Dan says, I don't remember him being absent 9 times. Bueller. Paige and Deanie Bean says, Bo has a shiny thing in his hair driving me mad. A shiny thing? Let's see. Randy says, medallion of 50, and it was a jersey numbered. Interesting thing about him, he won the AL batting title in 2003, in the same year as Pujols in the National League. There you go, Bill Miller. Let's see. Dan says, I messed it up. I don't remember him being sick 9 times. 9 times. Christian Anderson, war, what is it good for? So that's my thoughts on the Hall of Fame. Let's see. So, by the way, excellent follow for the Hall of Fame. Ryan Thibodeau on Twitter. He is his @ is @ not Mr. Tibbs. He does the Hall of Fame ballot tracker. I don't think we've had any ballots, but he does. As soon as ballots start coming in from the various writers, he tweets those off. There was one interesting tweet. The tracker team polled 22 Hall of Fame voters, which, by the way, there's how many voters? I don't think we know, but we can go back and look at last year. Is this the right link? Oh, wow. So he's got, that's his Mastodon link. I don't, there's the tracker. So there were how many voters last year? Somebody might find it faster than me. Let's see. Oh, it looks like there are 3 public ballots already. So 3 public ballots, and Carlos Beltran has been voted on all 3 so far. Let's take a look. This is the Hall of Fame, Baseball Hall of Fame ballot tracker by Ryan Thibodeau. 3 public ballots are in the spreadsheet. Beltran is on all 3. Scott Rowland is on all 3. Billy Wagner, Gary Sheffield, Jimmy Rollins, Alex Rodriguez, Manny Ramirez, Andrew Jones, Todd Helton are on 2 of the 3 ballots, and Bobby Abreu, Mark Burley, Abreu, Burley, Jeff Kent are on 1 ballot. So, wow, 3 ballots already in. Can we go to last year, 2022? Let's see. So it looks like there's about 400 voters last year. There were 309 public plus 12 anonymous. Oh, total ballots cast, 394. So last year there were 394 ballots. So going back to Ryan Thibodeau's tweet, they pulled 22 of roughly 400 voters with the question, what percent of the vote will Carlos Beltran receive in his first year on the ballot? And the average was 53%. They thought he will be on 53% of the ballots. That was the average. Looks like between 60 and 65% was 7 of 22 people said between 60 and 65%. But the average was 53.2%, median 58%. So there you go. Let's see. Let's go into the chat. Randy says, I did give the guy money, but I felt dirty about it. Andrew wants to play the game. We're over an hour in. I want to ship and list today. We will take today off from the game. Andrew says it should be a public vote for the Hall of Fame. Writers should have to reveal their votes. Every U.S. citizen votes, but it's private. So should it be public? So there's a question. If you think if it should be a public vote, should your vote be public? Should you have to publicly announce who you voted for in elections? Let's see. John says it should be the players voting, not writers, and I agree with that. I agree because writers hold grudges. Public would make it a popularity contest. I agree with that, and most likely vote for only 70-year-old white fellas. Andrew says if everyone votes, it would be fun, worth a try to promote it all year. I do not agree with that. I hate the All-Star game because of public voting. Max says sounds like American politics to me. 70s. So there you go. So that's what I had for today. That's my thoughts, my opinions. Final answer, writer's ballot. If I had a vote, I'm only putting 3 guys in. Alex Rodriguez, my first choice. Manny Ramirez, my second choice. Gary Sheffield, my third choice. That's it. Those 3 guys, that is all. Oh, maybe Carlos Beltran. After looking at Beltran's stats, I'd probably lean in putting Carlos Beltran in. So I would put 4 in. Final answer. I'm putting 4 in. Let's see. There we go. So have a great day. My eBay link is in the description to this video. I'm going to aim for 1,000 new listings today. So I'm going to try to get 1,000 new listings into my eBay store. That'll put me over 29,000 active. So check that out. I'll be adding cards throughout the day. I will be listing 2022 Allen and Ginter singles first, and then I'll do some 2022 archives, and then it's going to be some random stuff after that. Like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We'll be back on tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central. And with that, I bid you adieu. Have a great Tuesday.